Welcome back to Korra. Now that we've put the business between Sue and Lin behind us, let's return to the Airbenders. Tenzin is starting out with the most important part of their training, putting up with being bored. Bumi makes fun of him finally, so Tenzin comes back with an air bison acrobatics show, demonstrating his class's two modes, freaking awesome and reading the end-user agreement. Well, the crew from Republic City arrives, delivering more Airbenders, and Korra calls up to check in with them.
She is wonderful and pretty and so smart, and she smells like flowers.
I gotta say, for Bolin, that's operating from a normal and, dare I say it, sane place. Tenzin admits that training is not going well. Everyone finds the stories boring, especially the guy who is setting a record for fasting, drawing his nourishment from the universe, we're told. He just meditates and doesn't eat. Really makes the story come alive, huh? Korra suggests tricking Bumi into helping him. He's an old military man, so he knows how to whip people into shape.
Conflict resolution. It's what I do.
Badly. You left off badly. Meanwhile, Jinora and Kai are watching the bison herd that flew over, and Kai decides he wants to ride one, even though he doesn't know how, and they are wild animals. That's usually a decision that's only made after lots of liquor has been put away and inevitably ends up immortalized in a video on Reddit. When they spot babies, Kai then assumes this must be a petting zoo, and he can just head down and enjoy, despite Jinora's warning not to do that. She has to intervene before he gets trampled. Well, doesn't have to, she chooses to. Damn it. After a little discussion, she says that Tenzin doesn't think she's a master yet, but Kai is certain that she has to be. And what more justification do you need than someone who has been wrong about everything? Well, Tenzin asks Bumi what to do, and Bumi takes it hook, line, sinker, fishing pole, and probably the pier with it. Break it down, build it back up. That's the thing. Rule with an iron fist. Fool! Tenzin toots as he pleases. He takes them out for a 10-mile hike, then says now's a good time to meditate, while exhausted and cold. After that, it's balance training.
The key is to maintain your heaven and earth connection.
I find using this on my wife helps her find hers rather quickly. Things continue like this, while Jinora says that maybe he's overdoing it. Just a thought, maybe don't make them wistful to be back in the Earth Queen's training cells. He moves on to explaining how beneficial it is to shave your head.
I'm not sure I want to shave my head.
That's fine. Shaving your head is a personal choice.
Wait, what?
Did that apply to the pubic waxing too? On to the obstacle course. It's very rare that I directly tap my specific discipline, but as someone with a bachelor's in education, this is the kind of learning environment that will end with the school being burned to the ground.
Stay light on your feet and you'll never feel the stinging rash cactus.
With the doors locked and Tenzin tapping on the window to be let out.
If you don't make it over in the next 30 seconds, they'll all have to run through the course again.
While everyone stands outside, smiling and waving at him. Bumi quits and leaves. Everyone begins asking for basic human rights, so Tenzin storms off. Or at least he tries to. He puts Jinora in charge and mistakenly opens the door to declare her a master, leading to a big fight in front of the other Airbenders. So Kai and Jinora finally fly off and promptly get captured by poachers. Well, they're not poaching Airbenders, they're poaching air bison, but, figure it must be close enough, I guess. While the villains discuss their evil plan, we return to Tenzin, who drops the one last hope I'd had for him, that he was playing some kind of long game that would turn this around into a way to help them learn more. I'm not really sure that could be. Maybe it'd be that, well, you saw what happened when you tried to rush to the finish line, to be master airbenders who could fly around on your own bison. But you see now the best way is the way that we'd been doing, slowly and methodically building fundamentals until we were finally ready to take on the larger tasks. Mind you, I would completely tear up his lesson plans. You don't start out people who've just learned they've got magical powers with the inspirational story of a man who spent 100 days not eating. Tenzin's wife comes by. I don't mean to downplay her as someone who only exists as her husband's wife. It's just that her name is not mentioned in the episode, and it can be pronounced two different ways as I look it up on the internet here, and having gotten enough shit lately, I'm not going to risk mispronouncing it. I particularly appreciated the remark that said there's no reason to ever make a mistake pronouncing Japanese words because they are only ever pronounced in one specific way when written down, which I suppose I can't argue with. If you learn how to speak Japanese, you will never misspeak Japanese. Believe it or not, that weird tangent about making mistakes actually ties into the point that's being made by What's-Her-Face here. Patience is required in teaching these people because they need to have a place where it's safe for them to fail. She says that when she started out as an air acolyte, things weren't easy for her either. It only worked out because people had patience with her, and, I really can't emphasize this point enough, no one was throwing watermelons at her head. Tenzin goes to try apologizing to Bumi, but Bumi doesn't want to hear about it right now, and Tenzin respectively responds to that by scowling at him. As for the poachers, they're headed to the Earth Kingdom. Seems the Queen enjoys eating the meat of endangered animals. Probably cooked over a lion turtle shell to make it extra decadent. Jinora can't get into the meditative state here to send out her spirit for help, but she can draw in a spirit to ask Boomju for help. Boomju gets the gist across to Bumi then, who calls for Airbenders assemble. There is nervousness about taking on poachers in combat, but Bumi gives a speech to really rally the troops. Meanwhile, Kai is free.
Free the bison first.
What? That's a terrible idea. You're a de facto master airbender. That's going to be a lot more useful in a fight in order to free the other bison than releasing one baby bison who, remember, can't fly away. Fortunately, the airbenders arrive when this plan fails to work, and in a wonderful moment, Shaved Head Guy can feel the approach of a net behind him and dodges it. Score 1 for Stanley Tucci. Kai swoops after the truck with the cages and tries to Indiana Jones into the cab. There's a bit of a size problem with that, though, so it's a good thing that Tenzin arrives with some air bison in order to sort it out. With that, Tenzin takes time to tell Bumi that his leadership, bending, and connection to the spirits that allowed for this rescue would have made Aang proud. And Bumi apologizes, saying he was afraid that he wouldn't measure up. He's always felt like he didn't really belong in the Air Nation. Tenzin also says he'll definitely think about whether Jinora is ready to be officially made a master. That is fair. All in all, I think this criminal enterprise pillaging endangered species has really helped bring everyone together. Tomorrow, we go back to Team Avatar and the threat from Zahir and his backup dancers.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!
Look to your left. Look to your right. One of those people will not make it out of here alive.